Before the Senate Intelligence Committee, Democrats continued to push Russian interference in the 2016 elections by saying over and over again they are actively working to undermine our democracy. To date, no evidence of this has surfaced, and there hasn't been any evidence about Russian collusion with President Trump either. Here's what we know so far in the ongoing soap opera of Russians meddling in our elections. According to a variety of trails, including the Nunes memo, Washington Post, New York Times, Anon boards, WikiLeaks, and the constant contradiction of testimony and commentary, the only group interfering in any elections are the Democrats. Back when Democrats started pushing crooked Hillary as their candidate, it was the Democrats who initiated opposition research against President Trump, as most campaigns do when facing an opponent. When they did this, they, being the crooks that they are, decided to try and get a FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign, honing in on Carter Page. He was a volunteer, had given a few speeches to Russian companies, and he met the criteria Trader 44's administration was looking for in order to push their narrative. After several failed attempts, they turned to Fusion GPS through crooked Hillary's campaign, devised a plan, contacted the Ukrainians to point the finger at Russia should anything be said about Russian collusion on the side of the Democrats and Hillary. This information came through WikiLeaks in the leaked DNC and Podesta emails. Together with Fusion GPS, hired by Hillary for America through the law firm of Perkins Coie, Democrats paid Christopher Steele, a former British spy who contacted Russians and Ukrainians for fake dirt on President Trump, and paid him $160,000 for this document. This fake dossier was used to finally get a FISA warrant on Page, and as a result, the Russian collusion story had legs, was pushed by Democrats, and propagandized by colluding media. Although Russians did participate in the making of the fake Clinton dossier, they were never the instigators and never undermined the election. It was the Democrats who initiated and pushed and are still pushing this BS, even as we're seeing them try to scramble, cover their tracks by murdering witnesses, and trying to write a counter memo to the Nunes memo, which has verified the involvement of the FBI, CIA, and Democrats in spreading false information, targeting private citizens, and undermining American patriots. In fact, anyone who's familiar with the elections and voting machines should know you can't actually hack a voting machine. During the voting process, it was discovered that the voting machines used by some counties in the United States were linked to George Soros, billionaire supporter of groups like Antifa, MoveOn.org, Indivisible, and gave over $25 million to crooked Hillary during the 2016 election. Some have dismissed this link as a conspiracy theory. However, the issue was voting machines installed with software and not linked to the internet would change voters' choices to Hillary after the person clicked the screen for President Trump. This means the software itself was hacking the vote of the American people. Had nothing to do with the Russians. As the voting process continued, people began filming in real time their votes changing in the booth and posting their videos on social media. People became very aware their votes were being manipulated, not on the internet, but at the voting booths. The solution became apparent and was twofold. First, people started asking for paper ballots, as is everyone's right, and secondly, several voting stations had power outages believed to be taken out by hackers who were helping American citizens be able to vote with paper ballots. The vote was never manipulated like the Democrats wanted. Without electricity, the voting machines could not be used. This was brilliant on the part of the American patriots who are tired of seeing rigged elections and their votes being overridden. So the bottom line is, Russians didn't initiate or instigate any kind of meddling in the 2016 elections. It was all Democrats all the time, all day long. There isn't any evidence of any tampering, criminal activity, or manipulation by voting by anyone except Democrats. And the only collusion that can be found points fingers right back at the Democrats and their deep state operatives like Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham, along with the propaganda machine we call mainstream media. After 3 years of pushing Russia, 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 and pointing fingers at everyone else except themselves, now we know what happened, don't we, Hillary? The American Patriot happened. Despite all your corruption and collusion with other crooks in your circle, you lost. And now you'll be getting what you deserve thanks to an American patriot who rose above the corruption of Washington and became the 45th President of the United States. And his